They hunt humans. Mermaids, sea monsters, and the Book of Enoch exposed. The Catholic mystery. What if the mermaids of folklore were more than just enchanting figures from children's tales? Could the alluring sirens and mysterious Mami Watas, whispered about in ancient texts and cultural legends, actually be remnants of a darker, spiritual world that lingers beneath the surface of our understanding? Dive with us into the murky depths of these mythical water spirits, where we unravel the secrets and explore the unsettling truth behind creatures that have captivated and terrified humankind for centuries. Are these beings simply figments of imagination, or do they hold a much deeper, more sinister reality? In this video, let's explore the possibilities together. Are mermaids real, and where do they exist? Mermaids have been a significant part of folklore since ancient times. Mythical creatures with a fish-like torso and a human appearance in their upper body. However, to many cultures in the past and even currently, mermaids are not just mere lore. They are believed to be real, living, or sometimes spiritual creatures. Mermaids were also mentioned in books such as the Holy Bible and the Book of Enoch. In this video, we'll be uncovering the mysterious history of mermaids. I'll be covering accounts of these elusive creatures, ranging from current times all the way back to biblical times. If you're unaware that mermaids were also documented in the Bible, I'll give you a brief rundown of what the Bible says about one of these creatures. In the ancient Mesopotamian pantheon, a being known as Dagon was worshipped as a god. If we take a look at the description of Dagon, he resembles the classic merman, which is the male version of a mermaid. Dagon was also mentioned in the Bible. In the Hebrew Bible, Dagon was characterized as the chief god of the Philistines, who lived in Canaan from 1200 to 600 BCE. According to passages in Joshua, Judges, and Samuel, Dagon was worshipped by the Philistines in temples at Gaza and Ashdod. So, is Dagon actually a merman? Well, according to his description, he is, but I believe the correct way to answer that is by looking at the several encounters with mermaids and mermen throughout history, so we can better understand what these creatures actually are. Many mermaid sightings involve a quick glance at a distant creature, as when Columbus saw mermaids off the coast of Haiti. But some reported mermaid sightings include a number of eyewitnesses who weren't ocean-crazed sailors. In 1603, a mermaid was spotted off the coast of Wales near Pendy. A farmer named Thomas Rold first spotted the creature, and he then called others over to watch the mermaid for 3 hours. William Saunders, also from Pendy, examined Rold and the other witnesses. The story was credible enough that in 1604, an image was created to depict the mermaid. It described her as a monstrous fish that appeared in the form of a woman from her waist upward. This next story is about mermen, the masculine counterparts to mermaids. In one 13th century Norwegian manuscript, mermen were described as monsters. The monster is tall and of great size, and rises straight out of the water. The text reads, "It had shoulders like a man, but no hands. No one has ever observed it closely enough to determine whether its body had scales like a fish or skin like a man." The monstrous creature was also a sign of doom. Whenever the monster has shown itself, men have always been sure that a storm would follow. Now I have to ask you a favor. Please share your thoughts, your questions, and leave comments below this video. Sharing our experiences and strategies can be a source of support and personal growth. Mami Watas, the mermaid, as called by Africans, or Mother of the Sea. There are also stories originating in Africa that may give us more information on mermaids and why they were worshipped in the Bible. In Africa, mermaids are known as Mami Watas. A Mami Wata is a water spirit venerated in West, Central, and Southern Africa, and in the Afro-American diaspora. Mami Wata spirits are usually female, but are sometimes male. The appearance of their hair ranges from straight, curly, to woolly black, and combed straight back. Most scholarly sources suggest the name Mami Wata is a Pidgin English derivation of Mother Water, reflecting the goddess's title, Mother of Water, or Grandmother of Water. In Zimbabwe, repair work was being done on a dam, but then strange reports began to come in. construction workers started reporting seeing strange creatures in the water that looked like pale-skinned humans with dark hair and fishtails. Now, these were some very tough guys working on this dam, so it was certainly out of the ordinary when many of the workers quit and refused to continue with their tasks. The men grew terrified when these creatures began attacking them, and it is even alleged that some workers were pulled into the water, never to be seen again. After the men told their superiors about their encounters, a new construction team was hired. This time, the construction team was composed of non-local workers who had no idea about the lore of the town they'd be working in. However, they too reported encountering the same creatures, ultimately causing the new workers to quit as well. To complete the project, a deal was made with the tribal people of the land to perform a ritual, asking for permission from the creatures to allow the project to be done. Mami Watas is known for abducting her followers or random people while they are swimming or fishing, taking them to her spiritual world and/or underwater. If her followers return to the human world, their clothes are dry, and they have a newfound understanding of the spiritual world. This may explain why the Philistines worshipped Dagon in the Bible, since mermaids are said to possess supernatural abilities. People still worship Mami Watas in Africa today. Intense dancing, accompanied by musical instruments such as African guitars or harmonicas, often forms the core of Mami Watas worship. Followers dance to the point of entering a trance, at which point Mami Watas possesses the person and speaks through them. But as we've seen, such as with the attack on the Zimbabwean workers, the peaceful nature of these beings may not be entirely accurate. Mermaids were once caught by Indonesian fishermen. Rain Malart used to think that mermaids were nothing but fairy tale fiction. However, this changed when he was stationed with the U.S. Navy on the Indonesian Morai Island, where he witnessed a group of local fishermen dragging something utterly inexplicable out of the water in their net. Intrigued by the commotion generated by the fishermen, who were dragging a squirming object out of the water, Malart approached them to see what they had caught. At first he thought it was a shark thrashing in the net, but as he watched, it seemed to morph into something far stranger. 1 minute it seemed human, and the next, it appeared to be about a 7-foot-long shark. Completely windblown, Malart asked the fishermen what they had caught. They nonchalantly replied, "We caught a mermaid again." He took a closer look at the creature, believing it to look far too human to be anything but one of his fellow men, and told them to let it go. But they refused, saying that they wouldn't directly kill the creature, but that it would succumb to such a fate on its own. Malart watched in horror as the men dragged the creature further up onto the beach, making sure that it was tangled up in the net beyond any hope of escape. The entity, which Malart named a fishwoman, attempted to escape its captors for another half an hour, before eventually giving up and weeping like a baby. Fearing that he was witnessing some kind of bizarre atrocity, Malart ran to his local mission to get help, but by the time he returned, the fishwoman had succumbed to its fate, just as the men had said it would. Now studying the body of the entity, Malart described the creature in great detail. Its hindquarters were apparently exactly like a dolphin's, complete with a double fin at the end. But from the navel up, the being's torso was said to look as human as any person you'd meet on the street. As is often the case in descriptions of bona fide mermaids, it was nowhere near as beautiful as one would expect a real mermaid to be. With coarse features and a long pointed nose, the being's skin was described as a lovely pinky red, of the most beautiful shade one could imagine. Its body was said to be covered in a nearly even coating of thick hair, seemingly running all the way down to cover its cetacean-like tail. If my interpretation of the source material is correct, the locals told a now likely curious Malart that the creatures lived in large schools and were apparently terrified of contact with humans, as one might expect they would be if Malart's story is any indication of human behavior in response to the presence of these piscine humanoids. When boats approached them, they would always dive to great depths, vanishing into the water before they could be caught. At night, these fishwomen would pull themselves up onto the beach using their hands, which apparently had 4 fingers and 2 thumbs. The islanders had grown accustomed to their presence and thought nothing of hunting them as they would with any other marine animal. If this type of interests you, I ask for your support with your subscription, And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Thank you for being here, and let's delve more deeply into the world of mystic spirits. How are the bird women sirens mentioned in Greek and Roman mythology? Sirens were mythical creatures of Greek and Roman mythology, depicted as being half woman and half bird. They were fabled to have lived on an island and to have lured sailors to their demise in dangerous waters with their irresistible song. However, the Book of Enoch explains them to be something much different. Sirens in the Book of Enoch are described as women who were once human, but were cursed by God. This is due to these women being responsible for co-creating demons alongside the Watchers. The Book of Enoch 19:2 says, "And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens." Sirens are mainly considered to be evil mermaids instead of the half-bird, half-woman creatures. In fact, the first documented mermaid sighting is nearly 1,000 years older than the Greek siren. These particular mermaids, known as sirens, are also known to sing hypnotic songs that lure people to their demise into the dark, gloomy depths of the sea. It makes more sense that these women were turned into mermaids, since people are still seeing these beings today. Other than anecdotal reports, physical evidence of mermaids is minuscule. This may hint at the likelihood of these creatures actually being spiritual beings, as they are said to be in Africa. Essentially, this places mermaids in the same discussions as other paranormal entities. In Western culture, these entities are called marine spirits. Marine spirits are mentioned in the Bible, where the word marine can also be translated to water. Essentially, marine spirit means water spirits. Beings such as Leviathan are marine spirits. Leviathan is known as the king over all the children of pride. I'll explain Leviathan in much more detail, but first, you need to understand marine spirits. The legion that Jesus exorcised from the man in the tombs were marine spirits because they caused the pigs to rush into the sea. Contrary to African beliefs about marine spirits, they are clearly not peaceful entities, but are demons, or at least demonic in nature. Africa's Mami Watas are the same as marine spirits. Both beings are known as water spirits and not physical creatures. This would make sense due to the fact that the women the Book of Enoch tells us were cursed to become sirens mated with interdimensional beings, and their offspring were also interdimensional beings. So why wouldn't the mothers of these monstrous beings also exist between the spiritual world and the physical world? If mermaids truly are spirits and not physical beings, they can appear whenever they please, since they are supernatural. This alone explains why people in ancient times, and even today in different parts of the world, see mermaids as deities. Perhaps it's their elusiveness and mystery that intrigue people, or more likely, the worship of these entities must stem from their supernatural nature and the strong deceptive nature that the Bible warned us about. How are mythical creatures mentioned in the Bible? The Bible tells us that the devil and his associates are extremely deceptive and will trick many people into thinking they are benevolent beings, which couldn't be further from the truth. As I've mentioned previously, Leviathan, the most renowned marine spirit, is known as the king over all the children of pride. A common belief about marine spirits is that they can make people very wealthy, but in return, these people must serve the marine spirits that they received this success from. Interestingly, Leviathan isn't just a metaphorical description for a marine spirit, but is also described as being a real, living creature. The Bible tells us that the Lord will slay Leviathan in the sea. Isaiah 27:1 says, "In that day the Lord, with his severe sword, great and strong, will punish Leviathan the fleeing serpent, Leviathan that twisted serpent, and he will slay the reptile that is in the sea." Another verse tells us that God actually eliminated Leviathan. Psalm 74:14 reads, "You broke the heads of Leviathan in pieces and gave him as food to the people inhabiting the wilderness." The Leviathan spirit, however, is a demon. This is similar to how the offspring of the fallen angels and human women became demons after they were eradicated in the Great Flood. Some suggest that the spirit of Leviathan causes stubbornness and rebellion against God. Marine spirits, mermaids, sirens, or Mami Watas, whatever we call them, we can all agree on one thing. This is a very interesting topic. So I'd like to encourage you to subscribe for more content just like this. Thank you for all of your amazing support. God bless you.